When you hear the word stoic, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of people, it's someone who's kind of cold, totally emotionless, maybe even a little robotic. Well, what if I told you that's not just wrong? It's the opposite of what Stoicism is all about. Today, we're going to dive into the real art of Stoicism, a philosophy that isn't designed to numb you, but to make you absolutely unbreakable. So let's just get right to it. What is Stoicism really? And why is this ancient way of thinking making such a massive comeback in our super chaotic modern world? All right, first things first, let's clear the air. The popular idea of a Stoic is probably the biggest misunderstanding about the entire philosophy. Yeah, so on one side, you've got this myth that Stoicism is basically an emotional freezer, a way to just shut everything down so nothing can ever hurt you. But the reality? Oh, it's so much cooler. It's a powerful form of psychological self-defense, developed thousands of years before we even had a word for psychology. And that brings us to a much better definition. Stoicism isn't about not feeling. It's about being able to feel everything, to be fully alive without being thrown around by it. Think of it like a toolkit for getting through life's storms. It gives you the strength to stand your ground when everything else is shaking. And its origins are surprisingly simple. The whole thing started on what was called a stoa poikile, which is really just a fancy way of saying a painted porch in an Athenian marketplace. The founder, Zeno of Citium, would just hang out there and talk to people. No huge temples, no ivory towers, just open conversation. And just think about who actually practiced it. We're talking about Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, a Roman emperor. Then there's Epictetus, who was literally born a slave, and Seneca, who was one of the wealthiest advisors in Rome. This just goes to show you Stoicism isn't for one type of person. It's for anyone trying to navigate the craziness of being human. Okay, so now let's get to the absolute heart of Stoicism. Seriously, if you understand this one concept, everything else just clicks into place. The Stoics slice the world into two very simple zones. First, there's what's inside your control, your thoughts, your judgments, your actions, your reactions. And then there's what's outside your control, which is literally everything else. The weather, traffic, the economy, what other people think of you, you name it. And here's the kicker. Most of our anxiety, our stress, our suffering, it comes from obsessing over that second category. The payoff for focusing only on what you control is immense. I mean, when you really commit to stop wasting energy on things you can't change, you get this incredible mental clarity. It is exactly like closing all those pointless, noisy tabs that are running in the background of your mind. And look, let's be super clear on this one point. Stoicism never ever asks you to get rid of your emotions. That's not the goal. The goal isn't suppression, it's observation. A Stoic feels anger or sadness or fear, but instead of letting that feeling hijack them, they create a little space. They pause, they observe it, and then they choose to respond with reason, not just raw panic. So how do you actually do this? How do you practice it? Well, that brings us to the really fun part. A few powerful, mind-shifting tools you can start using pretty much immediately. We're going to look at 3 core practices that are like the Swiss Army knife of the Stoic toolkit: Memento Mori, Amor Fati, and voluntary discomfort. And these aren't just abstract ideas. They're daily exercises for building a stronger mind. First up, we've got the one that sounds a little intense. Memento Mori. It's Latin and it means remember that you will die. I know, it sounds super grim, but just stick with me here. Because the point isn't to be morbid, it's to be liberated. When you truly let it sink in that your time here is finite, something amazing happens. Your priorities snap into crystal clear focus. You just stop wasting time on petty arguments, on pointless drama, on things that don't matter. It's a powerful call to live with intention, right here, right now. Okay, next up, we have what a lot of people call the Stoic superpower, Amor Fati. Again, it's Latin, and it means love your fate. And this goes way, way beyond just kind of accepting what happens to you. See, Amor Fati is about actively embracing your reality, all of it. It's about looking at an obstacle, a setback, a failure, a tough diagnosis, and not just putting up with it, but seeing it as fuel. It's the mindset that says, okay, this is my path. This is what I've been given. So I'm not just going to walk it. I'm going to walk it with strength. And our third tool is voluntary discomfort. This is basically the idea of intentionally stepping outside of your comfort zone as a form of training. Things like taking cold showers, maybe fasting for a day, or just simplifying your life for a little while. This quote just nails it. Constant comfort actually makes us weak and fragile. But small, controlled challenges, they make us stronger. When you practice being uncomfortable on your own terms, when you train for difficulty, you're not so easily broken when real, unexpected trouble shows up. You're already prepared. So this all sounds pretty good in theory, right? But what does it actually look like in our modern, messy, 21st century lives? Here's probably the best way to think about it. Stoicism is like the essential operating system upgrade for the human brain. Our hardware, our anxieties, our fears, our knee-jerk impulses, that hasn't changed much in thousands of years. This is the software designed to help us run it all effectively. And what does that look like day to day? Well, it means you stop reacting instantly to things. You create that pause. You start making decisions from a place of calm instead of chaos. You get to choose what actually deserves your precious energy. You know what? You forgive people faster. You focus more deeply. And ultimately, you just become harder to break. And hey, if you're looking for some modern scientific proof, here it is. Many of the core ideas of Stoicism, like questioning your first impressions and focusing on how we respond to events, are the direct philosophical foundation for cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. Only one of the most effective and proven psychological treatments we have today. All of this practice, all these tools, they all lead to one ultimate goal. The Stoics had this incredible metaphor for it: the construction of your inner citadel. The inner citadel is this unshakable fortress of peace and resilience deep inside you. It's the place you can retreat to when the outside world gets loud and crazy. It's built brick by brick every time you focus on what you can control, every time you choose to love your fate, every time you train in discomfort. It's a source of strength that is always there for you, because you, and only you, are its architect. And that really leaves us with this final crucial thought. In a world that is just filled with noise, distraction, and panic, the ability to stay calm, to stay centered, to be reasonable, that's not a passive thing. That is a genuine superpower. And it's a power that Stoicism teaches us how to build, one day at a time.